Okay, so you've got your blog all done. Now you need to publish it. So how do you do that? Well, what I want to do is to take you through the steps to do it, and we're going to do it in one of two ways. The first one is I'm going to show you what to do if you don't have a blog already, and we'll use Blogger to do that. The second way, if you look on the right here, is I'm going to say, okay, what would happen if you do have one? How do you publish there? And you're going to see it's very, very similar, whether we're doing it ourselves on a WordPress type site like I use for my business, or whether we do one on Blogger, which is what my students use. So what we have here is over on the left is a completed blog. All right, I've gone through and I did it in Word, but I put in, essentially here's my 2-line introduction. Here's the first article, the second article, and so forth. And then I have my 3 bullet points. I then have my close. I then have a little bit about me. I have my own picture, both the picture for the blog and the picture of me. And then down here I put in keywords. I went to the information I gathered from Social Mention, and I identified the keywords in 3 different areas. First off, it's a little bit about me. Then I have a little bit about the article. Who are the authors? Where is it published? And things like that. So I can use that. I have a little bit about the topic and industry related to the articles, so that kind of helps me. It also is stuff that are keywords that I want to attract. And in addition to that, I have key market words that I want to go after as well. Those are labels and keywords. I'll show you how to use those in a minute. Also, into the memory of my computer, I've loaded the picture that I want to put on. That's this big picture here. And the second thing I've loaded on is a picture of myself, because I want to put that in the summary at the very end of the bio to tell the reader a little bit about who I am. So I have this all ready. So let's say that I don't have a system to use. So what I would do is I need to go to a system like Blogger. And this is Blogger. It's free. I mean, each country has their own, but Blogger is a pretty big system. And so this is the way Blogger would work. I've logged into blogger.com, I registered, and the registration I used was Social Marketing Specialization. And so I did that, and now I want to create a blog. In your system, you will not see the Social Marketing Specialization blogs because it doesn't exist. But what you do is this. When I wanted to create a new blog, you would click on the new blog, which you'll have. You'll put in the title, okay? So we'll call this Social Marketing. And we'll call it the Insider. All right. What I do is when I click, I can go through and give it the address that I want, but you notice it says the blog address is invalid, not being supported. So if I call it the Social Marketing, and you notice it already does at blogspot.com, and so I say, yeah, that's what I want. It'll check and it says it is available, which means I can now make my blog. Now, underneath there, I have then a whole lot of different templates. So if I wanted awesome, I could do that. If I wanted simple, you can actually go through and look at these. We're just going to use the simple one right now. So now I'm going to create my blog, the Social Marketing Insider. And so what it's doing now is it's actually creating the blog and putting it out there. And so, I need to find a domain name, so I'll look for Social Marketing Insider, but in this case, I really don't want to start my own website, so I'm just going to say no. Okay, so now I'm into the new thing. It's called the Social Marketing. Oh, I misspelled it. So let me go back to my blog here. I better go back. Let's go to Settings. So now I'll just change that. Social Marketing Insider. Okay, save change. It's saving. It still is okay, of course. So now I've got that. So now let's go back. And hopefully, see, it changed it. So the Social Marketing Insider now has it spelled right, okay? So what you do is if you're going back to it again, you're going to click on it. It's already set up. And you notice over here on the left, we have posts and pages. The key is this is your blog, all right? And so what it does is it talks a little bit about the blog. You notice there's no performance happening. I can go to the settings and actually set different things. Like I can put in a little bit of a paragraph about who I am. I can go through and check different things. I tend not to spend a whole lot of time on these, but you probably do want to put in a little bit about your company and so forth. And so you have the layout here. It shows you how you might want to have it. Because we're using the basic one, let's not mess with this. And so the key is when I'm ready to go, I'm going to click on New Post. Okay, New Post now goes through and it's going to give me the format that is used for almost all blogging systems. Up at the top I have the post title. Then I have the body here. And I have different things. Like if I'm putting in a link, I can click on the link button. If I want to do a picture, I can put in the picture button. And so basically I have the ability to change the font, make things bold, make things italic. We'll use a lot of those. But the key is you've already have your article written. So it's going to be basically copying and pasting. But if we take an overview, if you look here on the left, we have publish, save, preview, close for what we can do with this particular article. We will save it as long as we need to, and we will never publish it until we're ready to go. We also have labels, schedule, which you don't need to use. The labels we will. Permalink is what happens when you publish it. That's the link that will be permanent that we're going to take over to Bitly and put it in. And so let's go ahead and get started. We have the body of our article here. So let's just copy the entire the article all the way down to the bottom. We're going to copy it. We're going to go over to our blog and we're going to paste it in here. All right. You notice it'll bring the formatting over, so it makes it kind of easy to do. And so you'll notice we have these red things. Well, I'll show you that here in a minute. But what they are is we're going to put in some links to show you how to make that happen. So we have it all the way here, down here to the bottom. And so this would be our article itself. Now what I could do here is it's probably a good idea to save it. Now we'll take that down. And if you notice below the article itself, and let me scroll down to it, click down to it, we have a little bit about me. Okay, now I've standardized it so you don't see a whole lot. So now we can go over and below the final sentence here, I can just paste in my information. Notice it did bring it in with the italics, but if it didn't, all I have to do is highlight it, go up here to the I in italics and click it. Okay, so you have really a pretty easy way to do it. So now you have your blog article. The problem is we do want to have these different words highlighted. Now I've done this before, and so I had it bringing it in. But let me reset this and we will unlink it. Okay, I'll remove the link. Okay, so this is how it would normally work. The first thing here is the name of my article. And then after it in red, I actually put the spot where it is on the internet. This is the address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. Okay. And so what I do is if I want to highlight the article and put a link to it, I highlight the article. I go up to the word link. I click on it. I paste in the actual address. Okay. It's always good to click on open this link in a new window so that way they don't go away from your article. And we click on go. You notice it is now underlined. So what I can now do is I can go in here and get rid of this because it doesn't really matter anymore. I don't need this link because I've now created the link for the individual. Okay? And so now I can go in and I could do the same thing with him. This is his link to his LinkedIn site. And so again, I would highlight the name. I would already have copied this over. When I put in the paste, I would then delete this one. And I would continue to do that for both articles, okay? And so what you do is you just actually copy them in and then make sure, and as you notice, I actually deleted the last part of his name, and now I put it back in. So that's that. The second thing we need to do, and I would of course do that for all of these down here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that on one that you can actually look at. So now I need to put in the picture. So what you do is you click on the picture, and you say, I need to upload it from these files. So I'm going to choose the files. And you notice I have the blog picture here, which is actually in the middle of the blog. So I'm going to double click that. You see it is setting it up. Okay, there is a one. So I'm going to say add selected. And there it is placed this in the center. Now notice I can change the size. Right now it's medium. I can make it a larger picture. Okay, I can take it back to medium or however I want to do it. The other thing it allows me to do is add caption. Do you see that over here? So what that allows me to do is to actually add the caption. So let's right now, we will come back to that, but let's make it a large picture. And so this is the way it was worked. Now I'll save it. Now let's say I want to see how this is going to look. So we'll come up here and we're going to do a title. Let's use like our CMO : 3 tips to using big analytics. Let's make it big data to drive your marketing, or something like that. We would probably have put that into the actual layout here, but we can work our way through it. Now what we want to do is we want to put in a caption with that particular one. Here's the actual address for this particular picture. And as you notice, it's huge. And to put that into the middle of this blog is going to be really, really hard to tell. So there's an easier way to do it. Let's go over to Bitly. Okay, and if you see up here, we have the big fish, and it says paste your URLs here. So let's paste this one in. You see what happens is it takes this great big link, and it has now given me a small Bitly link. And I can copy that, and you see how it floats up when I do that? So now I'm going to go back to our article. I'm going to click on the picture. I'm going to add a caption, all right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in the Bitly link. Now I could also say found in Korean magazine or whatever it is, like it goes, so found in Korea, I forget what it's called, but anyway, I could put that into here or not, but what it has done now is it's now given attribution. So let's say I'm not sure what this is going to look like. I want to see this now that I put in the title, I put in the picture. You can now, after I always save it, then you click preview, and preview will open a new one. Notice it's still there, but this is the way it will look. So I go down, I look, I want to make sure that the picture isn't too big. That looks good. The article is floating well. Of course, the red would not be there. There are my bullet items. And again, I can change that as I go. But let me close this now because it does look good. All right. I go back to my blog or article. Here are my bullet points. Again, I can put in the bullet points. And you see it's highlighted up here, as is the bold, the B for the bold. So that's bold. So it looks really good. I come down here to the bottom. Now I want to put in my picture. So I put the cursor on the left-hand side. I go up to picture. I go find, choose a file. Here's my picture. That's actually for one of my students. It loads that in. There it is. So I'm going to select that and add the selected. There's my student picture. Now notice it's in the middle and everything, all of my writing is on the side. So first thing I want to do is I want to make a small picture. And then I want it to be on, instead of in the center here, I'm going to put it on the left. And you see how it automatically adjusted? Now it still is, my stuff is still at the top, so I can just tab that down so it's in the middle. So now I'm going to save that. Let's take a look at that. So I'll click on preview. And there's the article. There's the picture. There's, and with attribution, there's all this, and here's my bottom. Okay? So it looks really good. Now there's one more thing I need to do. Notice over here on the right there is the labels. Now I need to add some labels. And labels are done with parens in between them for this particular format. And you notice it says separate labels with commas. We want to use a comma. So I go over to here, and I have several of them that have commas in them that include, information about me. So I'll first add those, copy those, paste that in here, make sure that I end with a comma. Then I'll go back. Sorry, I have to go back and forth here, but I will go back to the article. This is information on the individuals that are in the article. I want to put them in because they might be searching for those individuals, which means they'll then stumble across my blog. I end with a comma, space. Then I'll make it small again. Let's do information on the topics, big data and all that. Copy that. I always put them in different orders, so it just makes it easier for me to make sure I know where I'm at. So we minimize that. We've got one more to do, and that's on my target market. I'm talking to CMOs, marketing managers, and so forth. Copy that. Making sure there's a comma right before it, which there is. I'll paste that in, and now I'm done. So I click the done button. So what it's done is it's given me labels. I usually like to have about 15 to 20 labels. You can do it however you want to do it. I put them in. I like what I have, so I'm going to save that. And so now I'm ready to publish it. So in the case that you get an error like this, just go ahead and we'll just cut out a bunch of them here. Just to kind of keep the numbers down. I just want to get this demonstration done for you. So let's just say we've got that. All right. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it's not going to be even more picky. So let's just go ahead and go through it. You'll want to follow whatever the methodology is they have or what they're telling you to do. So now I'm going to go ahead and publish it. You notice when I publish it, a couple things happen. First off, it now has actually put out this as an article. You notice here are all of my search terms. And now I have the article sitting here. I can edit it, view it, share it, or delete it. So let's go ahead and look at it one more time, because there's one more thing I want to get. And that is over here we have the permalink. The permalink is what it looks like when this is where it will be permanently saved essentially on the internet. So I can copy the permalink here. I can also go back and just actually I can hit a preview. And you see, oh, it won't do that. So I can actually then close it. I can actually view it here. And in viewing it, it also gives me up here the permalink. So it's the same thing whether I take it here or there. So this is my article. This is where I have it sent. So now what I want to do is I want to go over to Bitly, and I want to save my permalink here. So I'm going to paste it in. And now this is where my article is going to be located. So this Bitly link is what you'd use on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and the others to actually publish your blog. This is where people will click to actually see this blog. So let me copy that. I'll open up a new view window. Let's paste that in and go to it. And what you see now is here is the article. It is in my particular blog that I just created, and there it is. It's all ready to go. People can come out and post comments and actually make a part of it. So you've actually created it from ground zero. So that's one option. That's what most of you will do. In your country, if you have a different thing other than Blogger, feel free to use it. This is just what I know that's widely available. It is international, so it is something you can use. Let's say that you're not. This is my particular company social IMC blog. And so what I wanted to do, if I wanted to put in a blog, this particular blog article, I would go down the left side to posts. I'd click on add new. And here is essentially, this is how WordPress looks. It's essentially the exact same thing. Here's the title I copy in. Here would be the where I put the paragraph. I click on add media here to actually add the pictures just like I did in the other one. Okay. And essentially I can go down here and I can actually give it a category. Here's where I put the tags that I wanted to use. And when I got all the way done and I put it all together, got it all done, I would go over here to save the draft. When I clicked here, I would publish it. That would give me my permalink that I then would click over. So whether you have your own blog for your company or yourself, or you want to use Blogger, either one works. And so what I'll do is in the tips page, I'll actually give you a link to this particular blog so you can see it, see how we did it, and use that. Also, you can go out to the discussion board on the blog and ask us any questions that you need. We'll help be as helpful as we can. Basically, just follow this template, work it through, and just get it all done on Word before you start doing the blog itself. It makes it a whole lot easier to do. And so, again, if you need anything, please let us know, and have fun with your blog.